Tuesday's or Treasury Secretary's bond move is sending Bitcoin towards 80K. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we're going to talk about today. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome in to the BTC Mastermind show. My name is Jerry. Jerry Loves Freedom. I'm your host. I should be joined by a couple of my panelists today, and we're going to talk about a few things. Ginger's in the house. Good afternoon, guys. What's up, Ginger? Trump shifted Moses. That means that we're about to enter depression, maybe. Berkshire bets on pure collapse and depression. We'll see, man. We'll see. We got a couple of topics we're going to talk about today. Bitcoin is near 80K. Is this rally real or just another squeeze? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent's D-Day on Iran. We're also going to talk about a big name in YouTube leaving Bitcoin, the real Bitcoin, and going to the other chain. We're also going to talk about BIP 110, what's going on with that, with the Blake to be hard fork. And we're also going to talk about, should Bitcoin ever change its proof of work? Is there anything that should make that change? So we're going to talk about that stuff, guys. We're going to talk about it. And here is my other panelist, my host, the distinguished Jor from 88 Sats Radio, or Happy Sats. Jor, welcome in. How are you, sir?
How are you doing, buddy? Sorry I'm late. I was just bragging last week about how I haven't been late. I've been on time so far, and then I go and do this. Go and do something stupid like this. But it's a hectic day here. I got a golf match tonight. That's why I'm dressed like a distinguished guest here. Gotta look good to play good. You know what I mean?
That's right, brother. Well, you aren't late because you came in right at block 963,888.
Oh, damn.
So them eights are eighting, man, aren't they? We got to play the lottery, bro.
It's funny how that works.
Yeah, I was telling Jor I was at the casino last night and I found a coupon ticket, the cashier's tickets, and it was for 88 cents. And I said, wow. And then I sent him another picture of some more eights, and eights are eighting. But anyways, Jor, how's it going today? What's your thoughts on Bitcoin hovering around 80,000? And what's your sentiment right now?
Did we hit 80 yet or no?
No, we didn't.
It came close, man. Last time I looked, it was like $100 off, but I guess it just keeps seems to be a bit of a wall there. But it's a rounding error. I'm just gonna keep saying that till people believe that, because it's same shit, different day. It is good though. I mean, I didn't realize we were that up. Somebody on the stream this morning mentioned that we were 27% up in the last week. I didn't realize it was that much, but pretty good run. Pretty good run for the old coin. Good to see. People in the chat, let me know how my sound is. I've been quiet, I guess. I was quiet on the Maple show. I was quiet on the Mastermind show with you last week. And so just let me know, because I'm going to have to make some adjustments here if I keep being quieter than everybody else. But no, I'm feeling good, man. It's I don't know, what's it at for gold though? What's the real price of Bitcoin today? Because gold was ripping a bit. Oh, still 17. Wow. So we got a ways to go from the bottom. The bottom was 12 ounces back in February. So yeah, man, or March, sorry. March, it was 12 ounces. Now it's 17. So it's good to see.
Yeah. No, the high is like what, 30 something ounces or something like that?
Might be higher than that. No, you're right. 38.
Yeah.
January 2025.
I remember that. He says you're quiet compared to me, but better than before. Well, everybody's quiet compared to me, Ginger. So that's not a fair. But you sound good to me, Jor.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's the real price of Bitcoin. We measure it in real money. And again, compared to Bitcoin, it's, very, very inferior. But when it comes to money that the world knows, because everybody knows what gold is, it's 17 ounces per 100 million sats. And that's a deal. That's a deal.
That's
But
crazy.
yeah, it is. It is.
There was a tweet here this morning from Joe Burnett. He said Bitcoin would need to rise 20.7 times just to match gold parity today. 20 times just to get 1-to-1 with gold. So if you subscribe to Jerry and I and our belief, and you've done your work, done your research on Bitcoin, Bitcoin's infinitely better than gold in pretty much every aspect except for time. One thing that's the only thing it's lacking on is history, time, and that's what people, I guess, judge most by. Though, is people are familiar with it. It's been around for tens, thousands of years. And that's the one thing that gold has on its side compared to Bitcoin. But 20x move, man, just to get to 1-to-1. So what would that put us? 10x would be 800K. 20x would be 1.6 mil. So yeah, that checks out. 1.6 mil per Bitcoin just to get 1-to-1.
Yeah, and that'd still be a good deal, guys. Like, seriously. And like he said, time is the only thing that gold has on us. And with time comes what? It comes trust and familiarity. And that's what Bitcoin doesn't have. Again, the only reason Bitcoin is sitting at just under 80,000 because nobody knows what the hell this thing is. And you guys are freaking so early, man. And to be able to get, 1,267 Satoshis for $1 it's just an absolute joke, man. It just is. It really is. One day it's going to be flipped. It's going to be $1,267 for one Satoshi.
Yep. Only a matter of time.
Yep.
Mathematically speaking. And
yes.
Yeah, it's just that nobody really, nobody understands that. I think this is, to answer your question here that you just popped up on the screen, I think this is, I think we only go up from here. But, I could be right. I could be wrong. Who the hell am I? I don't know. I probably know. I know one thing is that anytime you're buying Bitcoin, probably for the next 10 years, it's going to be a good discount. And then even so, if we're still dealing in fiat, if we're still making money out of nothing, it's always going to be a good deal to trade for Bitcoin. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see just how high it goes, because you see these predictions, you hear people talking about it, and I don't think anybody's brain can fathom just how high this thing is going to go. For real. And when we're measuring, especially when we're still measuring it in dollars, that's why I like using the gold, because if something happened where the US defaulted on its debt, or they revalue the gold and basically cancel their debt with a couple Bitcoins, as Trump would say, then fiat dollars are going to infinity. So Bitcoin could go to $1 trillion fiat in fiat terms, but that still wouldn't really buy you that much. And that's why it's important to compare it to something that's real. And the closest thing I think we have to that is gold. And that's why Jerry and I like looking at the gold price compared to the fiat, because at least with gold, even though they do inflate it, there's still an abundance of gold out there. It's still a little bit more controlled than whatever Bessent says, or whatever this person says this week, and how much units they print without telling us today. It's just like, it's kind of a silly metric, even though, again, I understand that we're still on a world reserve currency of the USD, but I just don't think we're going to be forever. I think it's a short-term thing, and I think it's actually coming quicker than people think. Quicker and slower. Slower for Bitcoiners, quicker for everybody else, of how we're going to gradually shift here from a USD reserve to a Bitcoin standard.
Agreed. And our partner, Lou Valentino's in the house.
Hey, what's
he
up,
said
Lou?
80. Yes, what's up, Lou? He says 85K gang. I was buying like a madman in the low 60s. So was I, sir. I was buying like a madman in the low 20s as well, sir. Good to see you, Lou.
And the high hundreds, or the low hundreds, I guess.
Yeah, I'll be buying the top forever. And to piggyback what you said, Joe, I couldn't agree more. Gold is a hard money compared to fiat currency. But again, as technology gets better, and this is what made me sell my precious metals, is the human aspect of gold. The reason why it's so hard to get, because human beings only have a certain amount of power to get gold, right? But once
resources,
yes. And once resources, like you said, and technology and everything goes up, we're going to be able to get gold outside of our system in the depths of the oceans. There's going to be caverns that we can get it from. And a lot of people forget this, but let me pull this up. A lot of people forget this, but as of the last halving, Bitcoin is the hardest money in the world now, stock to flow ratio, you know. And if you guys are not familiar with stock to flow, just look at the word stock to flow. You have a stock of gold or whatever you got, a stockpile of whatever, and then the stock to flow, the flow of the um, asset that's coming in comparison to the stock. Bitcoin is the lowest. Bitcoin has a lower inflation rate now than gold. Gold had the highest, and gold is second now to Bitcoin.
Yep.
And a lot of people forget about that because that was a big talking point during the last halving, but we've surpassed that. What do you think about that, Jor?
Yeah, it's the current highest stock to flow, and because the flow cuts in half every 210,000 blocks or every 4 years on average, it's just going to get higher and higher and higher, and it's going to get exponentially higher compared to gold. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You said the resource of gold. I also think that there's just not enough demand for gold. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if there was enough gold, or if there was enough demand for gold, we would find more ways to do it, right? Because let's just think about all the gold miners out there, all the gold resource companies out there. They're pulling probably as much as they need to out of the ground compared to how much demand there is for it. Like, they're not going to pull a bunch out if nobody wants to buy it. And so this whole 2% inflation, it just reminds me of how stupid the fiat system is. That there's this literal abundance of gold out there, like you mentioned, and we're just pulling it out at 2%. Why? It's because nobody wants more than that. Who's the biggest holder of gold? Central banks. So if there was enough demand for gold, I'm pretty sure these companies would expand and grow and hire more and do more digging. We could always meet demand with supply, always, forever, with everything other than one thing, and that's Bitcoin. And that's why it's going to become the unit of measurement. That's why it's going to become the global reserve currency of the world. And it's the hardest today, and it's going to be the hardest forever because of those reasons.
Spot on. And you're absolutely right. And I tell people this all the time, man. I was a hardcore precious metal stacker before I knew what Bitcoin was, right? And people still to this day come to my channel and say, Jerry, you're an idiot. Why would you sell your gold and silver? I said, because I understand true scarcity and I understand what Bitcoin is in comparison to gold. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. That is a talking point that the precious metal guys say. And that's fine. But that's like saying, well, I'm not going to get rid of my Polaroid pictures because you have digital pictures, right? Digital pictures, I'm not saying they're better, but they're more. I can hold, how many digital pictures can you hold on your phone right now, guys, in comparison to Polaroids? I love Polaroids. I got a bunch of them in my old album, and those things will be forever great. I'll be forever grateful for those. But that's the old way of doing things. You need a digital money for a digital world. And going back to what George said about the demand for gold, when I was stacking precious metals, I just never understood why when I used to go into these coin shops that there was nobody in there. I'm like, how is like this store not being absolutely raided right now
Yeah.
when it comes to the money printing and what's going on and the scam demic and all this other shit. Because my light turned on, my green light turned on before the orange light turned on, if you will. And I was just like, wow. And I was just trying to tell everybody, I was giving everybody silver and little pieces or whatever. What's up, Philip? What's up, Spaceman? What's going on, good people? Yeah. So again, if that demand does go up, aka the price will go up because the demand will outrise the price or the supply, then like Jor said, they'll find more. They'll find more. Now, here's a question, Jor. Is this rally real, you think, or is it just another squeeze? We did have that short squeeze. What do you think about this price right now?
I don't know. I think that regardless of what the USD price is telling you, number one, I'd say pay more attention to the gold price. If you are somebody who's, DCAing, I would just say keep going. Like, nothing changed. Maybe you could start allocating a little bit less. It seems like if you look at the fear to greed ratio, we're a little bit high right now, which if you're somebody who's intelligently DCAing every day, it might make sense to just, stop for a little while. I know that kind of goes against our human nature. When the price is running up, we just want to buy as much as we can. But like when we're in greed territory, which we are right now, and we got there very quickly, it might be a good idea just to kind of hang off. If that's something you're into. If you're somebody like Jerry who just buys every hour on the hour, then you're just probably mad that you're getting less sats right now. But I don't know. I think that the one thing I have noticed though is that people are catching on. People are catching on to this scheme. And you mentioned why aren't people lining up at the gold and silver dealers? And it's because we've been lied to our whole lives. We were never taught what money is and what sound money is, and we've never lived in a world with sound money before, so we have nothing to compare it to. And I think that whether this is real or just a dead cat bounce or whatever they're calling it, I think the one thing that people should pay attention to in the future is stacking real assets. And what I consider to be a real asset is something that's hard, like we were just talking about with gold. Gold is hard. Bitcoin is hard. It takes energy to mine it or to create it. Flip side of that would be fiat money, which is very soft, the softest there is, softer than baby shit, some might even say. So you got hard. You want it to be scarce, like Jerry was talking about. That's what gold has done so well through the years of being the scarcest and the highest stock to flow. Bitcoin obviously is higher stock to flow now and going higher. And the third one is you can take self-custody of it. And you can do that with both gold and Bitcoin as well. So those three things, hard, scarce, and you can take self-custody of it. That's what I consider to be a real asset. And that's what people should be paying the most attention to when they're looking to store their time and energy into the future. And so those three things, I mean, gold and Bitcoin kind of do the best of those three things, but gold doesn't compare to Bitcoin in terms of its scarcity or its hardness. You can take self-custody of both, but even Bitcoin in terms of self-custody, you can design your security setup so that nobody can come to your house and take it from you. If you want to self-custody gold, you got to hide it somewhere. You got to protect it. With Bitcoin, it can almost live in the cloud almost, where you can have 10 different keys in 10 different spots and make it impossible for anybody to take it from you. So stack real assets. And to me, Bitcoin is by far the realest asset that exists. And we're at the point where people still think it's, the opposite of that. So lucky for us.
Yes, absolutely. And I agree. Hard, scarce, and
Self-custody.
self-custody. Got to, I mean, gold is good with those things, but Bitcoin is great.
Yep.
It's not even great. You can't even compare the two. You know what I mean? My physical security comes in the form of 5.56. And so yeah, I completely agree with that. But us being near 80K, is this rally real or just another squeeze? I don't know, man. Every time I think it's one way, it's the other, to be honest with you. I just set my hourly buys. I try to create more value. And I want you guys to hear this, okay? I'm being serious. I want you to think about what Bitcoin is today, because we're talking about gold and everything. And I used to think this about gold and silver. I'd say, man, how much is this ounce really worth? And I'd Google it and say how many ounces there are versus how many people there are and how much fiat dollars there are. Well, just take a look at how many sats there are in the world and how many dollars there are in the world, right? Then you add the utility value of Bitcoin. What problem does it solve? I ask people that all the time. When you're buying a quote unquote asset, because the reason why I was harder into silver than the gold, because I believe silver, and this is not even this is just objectively speaking, silver has way more utilities than gold, right? Physical utilities. So ask yourself, what's the utility for Bitcoin? Oh, Bitcoin has no intrinsic value. Really? There's nothing on the planet that can do what Bitcoin can do. It solves savings. It solves debasement. It solves a lot of these things. So my question is, what is Bitcoin worth to you, right? What do you think? How many sats should you be able to get for $1 versus the dollars out there? And we're not talking about US dollars. We're not talking about Canadian dollars. We're talking about a global world reserve asset. Bitcoin is. It's not just your country. It's the world. Take all the fiat currency in the world and compare it to the 21 million Bitcoin there is. How many dollars should it take to buy Satoshis, or the other way around, like me and Jor like to say? How many sats can you get? So that's the question. And to me personally, I put it at 10 million right now, today in 2026. And anything under that, we say $1 million, that's when it starts. That's when people start waking up, because that $1 million price action. But for me, it's worth at least $10 million, in my personal opinion, based on the scarcity and the problems it solves. I think it's a no-brainer. So I don't know if it's a squeeze or not, but I do know that long-term thinking, it's on sale. Joe, I don't know if you've been paying attention to this, but Treasury Scott Bessent, he announced an economic D-Day on Iran. And the reason I'm bringing this up because Iran is big on Bitcoin. They were doing some stuff on Bitcoin. Spaceman says, just like George said, dead cat bounce. The first breakout is a fake out. I think we'll be heading south again. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm in either way. I don't make decisions based on price. That's right, brother. That's right, Spaceman. Welcome in too, brother. Bull trap. Historically, silver standard has failed against gold standard. Yeah. Queen China was on silver standard and got left behind by the gold standard countries. Yeah, it does. It did. But Scott Bessent said he's announcing a D-Day on Iran, economically speaking. So we're gonna watch this video and we're gonna talk about it on the other end. And I want to get your thoughts on this, Jor. All right. And I'm going to tell you why I'm bringing this up in a second. Take a look.
The Trump administration is about to launch what it calls an economic D-Day against Iran. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is already calling it the start of the end game for the regime. Doug Lazader has more this morning from Washington. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning. And the Treasury Secretary is expected to unveil the details behind this plan today, with Iran already calling it an act of war.
We have green. We are racing.
President Trump kicking off the D.C. Grand Prix just a day before he signals another big.
I'm sorry, guys. Is this guy the man or what? He is such a freaking funny dude, man. We are going to miss this man when he leaves office. My God. What do you think about Trump, George? Real quick.
Nobody appreciates this guy, man. Nobody does. The guy's 80 years old. 80. He has more energy than probably 99.99% of the world at any age. The shit that he deals with every day, day in, day out, is just absolutely mind-boggling to me. It's just a wonder that more people don't realize how incredible this guy is.
Yeah, and not to he's just a guy that, again, he is the perfect president in the perfect time right now. We just need him at this time, and we're so lucky to have him on this timeline. It's just, again, all the shit they throw at him and everything else. You may not like him, but you got to respect him.
Start. And Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has already given some hints on what comes today. And he just wrote in the Financial Times, at dawn begins an economic D-Day, the single greatest financial offensive ever marshaled against an adversary. Iran's economy has already taken one hit after another with sanctions and the U.S. naval blockade. This taxi driver says his purchasing power has dropped 40%. But the White House really wants to enlist other countries to help.
Ding, 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 ding. Did you hear that, guys? 40%. This is why Iran, again, you can talk about the government, how bad it is or whatever, but Bitcoin is needed. It solves a lot of problems. And when you get cut off economically, we're going to finish this video, and your purchasing power is getting absolutely decimated by, and again, the Persians, this is what the citizens are of Iran, they're Persians, versus the government. These are pretty good people, and they're suffering through this. You know what I mean? And Scott Bessent is trying to choke them out economically, and this might affect Bitcoin.
Target the regime, especially the Islamic Revolutionary Guard.
Treasury wants to take away their ability to deal with front companies, whether that's banks, businesses, and believe me, from Dubai to Hong Kong, there are front companies that Iran has used over the years.
Iran's new security leader is already promising to retaliate against countries that cooperate with the new U.S. effort, and critics in Congress are unswayed.
What we must do is prevent this failed war from becoming a forever war.
The White House also hoping for a quick end, even as this economic pressure play may take time. Iran has already faced U.S. sanctions for going on 50 years. Back to you guys.
What is the strategy, Doug, here moving forward? I know we're expecting a big announcement from Bessent today. What time is that coming? And will we learn more details as it relates to what is in this economic D-Day plan, per se?
Yeah, that's his announcement today, is what the details behind this plan would be. We don't know how far-reaching it's going to be, but they're certainly indicating that this is going to be a pretty comprehensive plan.
Okay.
Yeah, he's going to be making that announcement. I think he's doing it right now. I don't know if it's live or not. But Jordan, looking at that, what's your thoughts on the debasement of Iran currency and Bessent trying to economically cut off Iran, and how does that affect Bitcoin in your personal opinion?
I actually love Scott Bessent. I don't know what it is about him. Maybe it's just his tells it like it is kind of thing. He's got a pretty good history though of accomplishing what he set out to do. So if he says that he's going to launch a economic D-Day on Iran, and like Jerry said, it's not really. I don't think he's launching it at the country of Iran. I think he's launching it at the regime, the government of Iran. And so the citizens, from what I've seen, anyways, they love Trump. They want their regime taken out. And I don't claim to be like a world political expert or anything, but it's interesting to me that the U.S. is able to use their dollar and use the financial system against these countries, and they've done it for a lot of years. Iran's been the target of it for I think they mentioned 20 years there or something, but they've done it to Russia. They've done it to Gaddafi. They got rid of him when they tried going around their system. And I don't know. I mean, I love America. I think that their plan is in the best interest of the world overall, not just America. I know that they like to puff up their chest and talk a big game, but I really think what they're doing in the Trump administration is going to benefit the entire world. And I do believe that Bitcoin's actually going to be a big part of that strategy. And so whether it is, taking out different regimes or showing people what they need to see in order to take some action, that's kind of what I always think that these guys are doing more than anything else, is just kind of waking people up.
Agreed. And, when you see this stuff like this global news, and again, Bitcoin is a global currency, guys, right? I know we get kind of like caught up in our echo chambers and we, fly our own flags to our countries and stuff, but this is a global money for all people. And despite Iran's government not being the best, it's still money for them as well.
Yep.
And even if the government is sanctioning its people and doing the bad things and using Bitcoin as a workaround the U.S. government sanctions, I mean, again, it's unstoppable, permissionless money. That's what it is. And I pulled some stuff up on my AI to talk about this. And he says, the goal is to cut off every economic lifeline, oil, shipping, banking, and crypto. Now, again, whether you agree with the Strait of Hormuz stuff or whatever, they were collecting Bitcoin at the Strait of Hormuz.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Iran boys were doing. So again, I'm not for even the bad guys. I'm not for what do you call it? Just taking people's cryptos and stuff. That's what Scott Bessent was saying. I don't agree with that. What's your thought on that, George? George, I know you got to leave. What's your thought about them trying to take away, quote unquote, people's Bitcoin and cryptos, whether they're good or bad?
Yeah, good luck. How would you do it? I mean, that's the question. Everybody hears, oh, they're going to cut off their Bitcoin, their lifeline and crypto, I should say. But it's like, how do you do it? And that's why I think that a aspect of Bitcoin that a lot of people are sleeping on is, and really we just kind of lived through it last week with the whole BIP 110 thing, where hash rate, the miners are the ones in control in a lot of ways. Not like they don't have full control, but they're the ones who get to decide. They can be influenced by the network. They can be influenced by the node runners. They can be influenced by these big institutions and whatnot. But at the end of the day, if you don't have hash rate, you don't have anything. And I think that Iran's actually been way ahead of this for a lot of years because of what the US has done to them for the last couple of decades. So Iran itself is far ahead of most countries in terms of utilizing Bitcoin and crypto to go around these sanctions. But how do you stop it? I guess that's a question. And so where I was going with that is like, if the US wanted to stop Iran from using Bitcoin, for example, and I think it's important to keep Bitcoin and crypto very differentiated, I guess, with this. Because with Bitcoin, if the US wanted to stop them from using it, they would essentially have to get in talks with the miners, figure out what wallets Iran is using, and essentially not include those transactions inside of a block, which seems pretty much, if not impossible. And so that's why I think countries like Iran, they aren't just buying Bitcoin. They haven't been taking their Iranian rials or whatever they're called and just buying Bitcoin. They've actually been using what they have in their country to mine Bitcoin, so that they have some sort of say in this if the US does something like that. If they could, I don't think that'd be possible, but then Iran at least has the ability to win a block, and then they could put their transactions into that block, which would be on the blockchain. So all this stuff is like very, very important in terms of like war and arguments and stuff like this and sanctions. And so if you don't have the hash power, if you aren't able to mine a block, then you could technically, although very difficult, you could get left out of the Bitcoin network. But it would still take a lot because they'd have to know which address you're using or which amount you're using and not include those specific transactions in the block. And it might be a little bit easier when they're doing it to one country, but when there's 10 or 20 that they're trying to cut out, I just don't think that that's the US's overall goal here. I think that there's always something behind the scenes that we don't really see. And BTC Pleb in the comments said, we don't know what's going on. We never know what's going on. And Trump even mentioned that today or yesterday. He's like, I have a plan. We have a plan. Everybody here knows the plan, but we can't tell you what the plan is. That doesn't make any sense. So I think this is just whatever it is, however it ends up being. I don't think that they have any chance to stop them from using Bitcoin. And I think that there's probably something else going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. And that's why this is kind of front and center right now.
Well said, my friend. I know you got to go. Stay tuned tomorrow. We'll be here at the same time. I'll stay for a few more minutes. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Jorah from 88 Sats Radio on his channel, on the Bitcoin only channel, and then his other channel, Happy Sats, that he'll be talking about other things outside of Bitcoin. Any last words, Jorah, before you head out?
No, sorry, I was a little bit late, and sorry I got to go early, but
oh, no, you're fine.
We'll be back here tomorrow for the Tuesday big mastermind. Hopefully some of the boys can show up, and then we'll be back here Wednesday and Thursday this week. So yes, sir. Keep her going here. I'll probably be listening in as I get ready, and I got to hit the road right now. That's why I'm in my golf shirt. So have a good day, brother, and thanks to everybody in the chat for showing up today, and we'll talk to everybody soon.
You as well, brother. Good luck out there. Hope you win
Nick.
today.
Appreciate it.
Take it easy, Jorah. Thanks. But yeah, guys, like Jorah was saying, it's going to be hard to do that. But the main thing is, I think these countries are going to have to really practice with their self-custody and also mining, like he said, because it says right here, the U.S. has already frozen Iranian-linked, quote-unquote, crypto walls, including a 30 million one earlier, and is now going harder after any crypto rails Iran is using. So do I like that? No, I don't like the Iranian government, but I don't like censorship on people's money either. You know, I'm not for any of these wars or something like that. And I know you got to do what you got to do sometimes, but just like when it happened in Ukraine and the Russia war, where Joe Biden put sanctions on Russia, I was just wondering why they weren't using Bitcoin then. Now, how does this affect Bitcoin in the market? Short term, more geopolitical risk can push oil higher and create volatility. I think that's going to happen. And again, that's going to affect Bitcoin's price too. Longer term shows governments are getting much more aggressive at tracking and freezing Bitcoin when nation states use it. And again, as much as I don't like Iran, Bitcoin is money of the people, for the people, and by the people. I don't think anybody should be trying to be censoring anybody's money. I just don't agree with that. And again, I'm a hardcore American. I love my country, but I don't agree with that. It also reinforces why self-custody and privacy matters. When a country is cut off, Bitcoin becomes one of the few remaining rails. I completely agree with that. So let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section below. Now to switch topics here, guys. Matthew Kratter from Bitcoin University made a big announcement on his channel Saturday. And I covered this on my channel. And he announced that he's done with Bitcoin. And that's a big deal for me. You know what I mean? And it ain't all about Matthew Kratter. But again, he has a lot of people that follow him. There's thousands of people that watched this video. And I compared it to him being kind of like the GOAT, like Michael Jordan, when Jordan retired in '93. And he's leaving the network. He's leaving the main Bitcoin network. I never knew he existed. Yeah. Well, he does. He does. He definitely exists. And he's leaving along with more plebs. And Me personally, this bothers me. It really does. What is his exit signal to me? It signals that a lot more people are going to leave. And I believe we should take this fork, this BIP 110 fork, a little bit more seriously. I really think so. You know, because I think this. I'm not saying it's going to overturn or overtake Bitcoin. I'm not saying that, but I think it's more serious than other people think. There's a small part of me that thinks that, and again, this is coming from the Matthew Cratter school of thought here in his videos, that this could be a lifeboat. This could be a little lifeboat if Bitcoin crashes out. I don't know if Bitcoin is going to crash out. I don't think it is, but I'm not a future teller. What do you guys think in the comment section below? Do you think BIP 110, the fork, whatever they're going to call it, is going to have some impact on the market, on the crypto Bitcoin market? Is this a big deal? Is this a nothing burger? What do you guys think about that? And also, what do you guys think about this 80K price? Is it short term, long term? What do you guys think? Let me know, please, in the comment section below. All right, guys, it's only me here. We've been going for 30 something minutes. There's no big announcements out there. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on out here. We'll see what's going on. But anyways, guys, this channel is the BTC Mastermind, and it stands for Be the Change, ladies and gentlemen. And be the change not only in yourself, but be the change in your family, in your friends group, and be the mastermind of your families and your friends group. Because there's going to be a lot of people out here, guys, that is going to need what we have to offer. And what do we have to offer? We have a lifeboat, the real lifeboat, Bitcoin, to help save these people. You know what I mean? Jonathan, nope, big nothing burger, a fart in the wind. Okay. All right. So stay tuned tomorrow. This is the big show tomorrow. We got the big boys on the show tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Same time, same bat channel. And remember, be the change and master your own mind. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one. And until then, and as you guys know, we love each and every one of you, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace and love, guys.